Hello everyone, this is Driss from CSS Ninja, and I'm here today to walk you through this template, Huro, multi-purpose web app UI kit. And so this is to help you guys get started as fast as possible and show you some new features that we have with this 1.6 update. Okay, so for those who don't already know the product, you have some documentation here in our documentation hub. So you can browse the documentation, get some, the first instructions for installation. So we're not here to talk about that today, so I'll leave that up to you. And more, we have our support portal, which is here, and you can open a ticket if you have any issue. We'll be there to help you. All right, so let's get started from the start, and we're gonna explore the code base of Huro, so you guys can, have a better understanding about how it works and how you should work with it. And after that, we'll be looking at the brand new Huro Quickstarter project. So it is a very lightweight project compared to the main Huro project, which has a lot of assets and a final bundle size that is absolutely huge. And we completely agree that you cannot work with that. So for the others that don't know what Huro is, so Huro is an admin UI kit. So it features a lot of demos, more than 200, has a native dark mode, more than 1,000 components, and sorry. So for the tech stack, it uses Gulp for task running and compilation. It has SAS with Bulma and jQuery. So if you're not looking for a jQuery product and are more looking for a something more modern, you can always take a look at our other template, which is Vuro and is built on top of Vue.js. So, but this is another story. So let's get back to Huro. So we're gonna get started with the basics. So a quick parenthesis. So this terminal is Windows WSL. So with Windows WSL, you're able to run a Linux environment basically on a Windows machine, and it's very performant, it's very fast. I personally recommend it, but it still works with the the regular Windows command prompt. So I'm here at the root of the Huro project. So that's actually the folder that will be named Huro 1.6 in your downloaded files from Theme Forest. And it's already installed for me, but what you'd have to do, this is covered in the documentation, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this, but if you were going to install the project, you would do something like yarn install or npm install, and then that would install all required dependencies to run the project. And of course, you should have Node.js installed. So let's look at my Node version. Here I'm running on 4.17.3. So I think Huro requires at least Node 12 to run, but yeah, you can as well run it on a v14. Good. So once your project is installed, you can simply run it by typing gulp, because it's the main task runner, and then dev. So that will start a development server with live reload and a lot of things that we're going to look at in just a while. All right, so I'm not going to run it right now because I want to first dive into the code base and the project structure. So I'm going to open the project. Okay, so we're now at the root of what you should have in your Huro 1.6 or more folder. So we have an Src folder, of course, where all of the source code resides. And we have some other folders that we're going to talk about. So we have a documentation folder, which is basically a link to the product documentation. And we have a brand new Kickstarter folder. So this is a lightweight version that has only one dashboard page and two authentication pages with the minimum assets, meaning by that CSS and JS, to have the smallest bundle size. So this is the ideal way from now on to get started with a new Huro project. But we'll take a look at that a little later. So first, I want to, this is for people who are not very familiar with Node.js. So when you're installing the project, you're installing a bunch of dependencies. And all of these dependencies are listed into this file, which is the package.json file. So here you can see, you don't pay attention to the version number because this is not updated yet, but this will become 1.6.0. Okay, so here you have all your dev dependencies that are used in the template, and you also have all the dependencies, meaning by that third-party libraries that Huro relies on. But most of them are optional, and you don't need to have them by default. But we'll see that in the Quickstarter. So when you run npm install or yarn install, so the software parses those lists and gets all the dependencies installed in that node modules folder for you. And that's all you need to know for that. So then we're going to move to a core file of the project, which is the gulp file.js. So this is the file that tells gulp what to do when you run the template. So it handles a lot of stuff for you so you don't have to worry about it, like moving some files into the distribution folder, cleaning it, compiling CSS, compiling or concatenating JavaScript, and linting and that kind of stuff. So you have two main tasks, which are dev and build, and you also have an optional setup task, but you will probably never need that because it's just needed to update Bulma to the new version. So you have that dev task and that build task. So they're pretty similar, but the main difference is that with dev, you're running a development server on your local machine with live reload. It reloads the page each time you make a change, either it's HTML, CSS, or JS. And for the build task, it simply compiles or your CSS, your HTML, and JS to the disk folder without running a development server. So that's just to get your production build into the disk folder that you can maybe pick up and put into another project if you need. But that's not the point. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what we have here. So for those who worked previously with Huro, we recently switched to Dart Sass as a compiler. So Dart Sass is actually named now Sass because it's the main implementation on the web. So we're using Dart Sass. We have some Sass CSS compilation task. We're using also Panini, which is a flat file compiler. So it can seem barbaric like as a name, but it's actually really simple. It just reuses some chunks of HTML in your pages using mustache tags, so you don't have to repeat your code everywhere. So it's really useful when developing and working on UI. Then you have some JS processing tasks that move those files to some other folders. You can see that there are a lot of files. That's why the template is very heavy, and but you'll come to, by exploring, to see that everything is cut into small pieces, so you know easily where to go and to pick the code that you need. So we'll show you in the quick starter that you don't need everything here, but this is actually needed for the main demo. We have here some additional tasks like image minifying, image copying, fonts, some data, copy, etc. And we also have some JavaScript plugins concatenation. So we're concatenating all the plugins that are used in Huro into a single file. So it results with a gigantic bundle, but knowing that you won't need everything, this is just for demo. So in your production project, you'll just be needing 1 or 2 or 3 libraries at max. And this is for the plugin CSS, which is also concatenated into and served as a single CSS file. Yeah, so that's pretty much what you need to know about the gold file. And for example, to remain very simple, if you need to add a new library, so you're going to do npm install something, depending on what you found on the npm registry, the library that you need, and it's going to appear into your dependencies. And what you are going to need is to find the entry point of that dependency, for example, in the node modules. So let's look, for example, at that one, hammer.js. That's to enable some touch features. So you're going to look at hammer.js, and wow. So where is hammer? Where is it? Here it is. So hammer.js, and that's where you're going to get the file, to concatenate it into a single file. So you have it in your final bundle. So that's how you handle, adding and removing JavaScript library. And the same goes for the CSS that is related to that library. You just go get it from the node modules folder. Okay, great. So now that we're done with that, I'm sorry if that video gets a bit long, but it's just that we have a lot to cover, and the main purpose being making you comfortable with this product by understanding everything that is happening in there. So that's going to be pretty useful when you're going to explore and start working with it. So let's dive into the real deal, the Src folder. So we have some subfolders here that we're going to describe. So first of all, we have the assets folder. Here we have the static font files that get loaded into the application. We have our images folder. We have our JavaScript folder. So let's talk a bit about this one. So we have a main file. So this one is like the main entry point. So it's just used to call external functions that are loaded in a prior way. So this is just, you see, calls to existing functions. Here we have the template main functions, but a lot of them are really optional. So if you don't need to have image combo boxes, you don't need that function to be loaded. So you can simply go through here and remove what you don't need, and you'll see that this has been already cleaned up for you in the Quickstarter. So then for more specific features, we have some subfolders. So in the demo folder, this is used for all the component sections for and demos of Huro, where you have every component described and code examples. This is for the marketing landing page. So this is also demo stuff. And this is for code highlighting in the components section. So this is pretty much demo stuff. So in the dashboards, you can see that you have several files here that have different names. So we have banking dashboards, business dashboards. So that gives you hints that those files are required for those pages. So that banking -1.js is the file that is used by the banking dashboard #1. So it's really easy to understand. Looking at the page file names will give you hints about the files that you need to have in your project. And same goes for the forms. So this is actually for the for the form layouts demos. And you have all these subpages JS that is divided into subfolder. So there's a lot of stuff here. I can't spend too much time talking about this, and this is mainly exploration, and but it's it's well categorized, so you won't have any trouble finding what you're looking for. All right, so then we have the SAS folder. So this is the Bulma folder. We're currently working with Bulma 09.2, and when this template is updated, it'll be probably 09.3, I guess. And let's look at what we have in our package.json. Oh, we already have that Bulma 0.9.3. So I'm just gonna run a gulp command when finishing the update, and this is going to update all the Bulma SAS, and we'll have the latest version. Okay, so then we have the SCSS folder, and this is all of the Huro custom SCSS. So here you have a lot of optional stuff, and we removed a lot of it from the imports in the Quickstarter project. So first you have the abstracts, so some keyframe animations, some brand colors, some dark mode base setup, some helpers, helper classes, some shadow variables, some typography system, and a list of the list of main variables with two overrides on the two overridden Bulma variables. So this is full HD enabled is a Bulma variable, and body size is for text. So those are overridden. So if you wish to override some default Bulma variables, you can do that here. You simply have to repeat the variable name and give it the value that you need. In here we have all the CSS divided per component. So for an example, if you don't need accordion in your project, you don't need to have accordion in your imports, or you can even delete it from the folder. So that's about optimizing your CSS for the build. You'll see in the Quickstart project that we have, removed a lot of this to make it as light as possible. Here we have the base elements like flex blocks, buttons, cards, base content like HTML tags, form elements, icons, links, and tags. And that folder holds all the layout as CSS. So this is pretty mandatory. You absolutely need this. You have the CSS for the sidebars, the different sidebar types, the page loader, the navbar, the additional navbars here in the navbar extension, and all the and some high-level responsive stuff. And you also have that that right panel, quick view, that sliding panel. It has its own file here as well. And then there's the big part where you have the files for every Huro page. So having more than 200 demos, there's going to be a lot of CSS in here. So of course, everything is optional and it depends on what you need in your project. So in the Quickstarter project, we removed everything. We just kept a single dashboard and some authentication styles, not more. Everything has been removed, and you have to pick each of those one by one, to build your application. But therefore, the project won't be bloated at start. Okay, so there's no need to dive into every single one of these because there are a lot, and there wouldn't be any point doing that now. So we'll have to explore everything, and again, the naming has been done to match what we have on page file names. Okay, great. And of course, we have here our main.scss file that imports everything for our main demo. You'll see in the Quickstarter that it's much more lighter. So, and in the vendor folder, you have some additional static assets that are being loaded. And if you don't need those, you can simply remove them. And we removed most of them in the Quickstarter. Okay, and then we have some data folder with some, JSONs that we use to fake some API calls in some components. So this one, you won't see those two folders. You won't only see one data folder. This is only meant for our own internal use here at CSS Ninja. All right, so then we can dive into the actual pages and layouts. So I spoke at the beginning about Panini that we use in our gulp tasks. So this Panini is like an assembler for your pages. So it needs a layout, which is the bare bones of your page. It has everything that's in the head tag, and the body mainly renders some partials that you define, but we'll get there shortly. So what you need is to know that the layout is the default skeleton that will be used to render your content. So we have different layouts that represent all the layout alternatives that you can see on the homepage, like the sidebar, the colored sidebar, the curved sidebar, the floating and rounded sidebars, the one with labels, and all of the navbar variations as well. So you won't have anything to change in here. Only if you want to remove some partials, and yeah, so that's good. That leads us to speak about partials. So partials are chunks of HTML, and it's just reusable code. So it's easy as understanding. So I'm gonna just open that file for good. And yeah, so just look at a quick example. So for example, here we're calling the page loader partial. So that means that you have to look in the partials folder, locate the page loader, which is here, and it calls this file. So it's the same name in the partial name and the file. It's just that it's written without the extension. You don't need to write the HTML extension, and you should just wrap it within those mustache tags and this closing HTML tag, and that's going to call the partial from the partial folder. You absolutely don't have to worry about the path, because it automatically finds the partial for you, even if it's nested in several subfolders. The only thing you have to worry about is that your partials should have different names and unique names. You can't have a partial with the same name in this partials folder, or it will just fail or create a conflict. So so that's really easy. So creating a partial is like adding an HTML file in one of these subfolders, or creating your own subfolder and starting adding files inside. So it's easy as that. You just put the file name, the brackets, and that's it. Your chunk of HTML is rendered into your page. But since now we're at the layout level, that means that those will be rendered in every page that uses that default layout. So that leads us to talk about the pages that we have here in that pages folder. So we have a lot of pages here, like I said, more than 200, including the components and element pages. So my main interest here is to show you how a page is actually built in Huro. So we're gonna look at the personal dashboard. So let's see. Where's that personal dashboard? Oh, here it is. So okay. So this is the first dashboard in the Huro demos. So I want to show you this so you can understand how Panini works. So you'll need that small thing at the top of the file, and it's really easy to understand. So the layout parameter is what layout you're going to use. So for that, you just look into the layouts folder, and you just have to put, it's the same thing as partials, you just have to put the name of the layout to tell Panini to use one of those. So for an example, if I wanted to use minimal light, I would just write here minimal light, and I would save, and my page would be rendered again with the minimal light layout. But that's not what I want to do right now. And the page title is just that the end, the last part of the title is actually a variable in this project, and every page replaces that part of the title with that page title. So that's is supposed, to make it easier. So you can see here you have additional partials, but that are called at the page level, and then all the page HTML. And this is how Huro builds the actual page. So it uses the default layout, goes and fetches all the partials from the partial folder and renders the HTML that they contain, and then it generates a final page that you can find in the disk folder. So we're going to look at that admin dashboards personal one page. Here it is. So this is the final page. It is rendered with the proper doc type, HTML tag, head, body. So the entire page, all that code that we see under this is actually rendered here in the page body tag. So all of these are custom partials, this one as well, and this one is a Panini special partial that actually renders the contents of the page inside the layout. So by now you should have understood everything you need to know about Panini, and maybe the last thing we can talk about is how we load scripts. So you can see here an additional partial. So I'm going to go into the partials, scripts, and look at the scripts partials. So here you can see that we have regular script tags that are rendered into the HTML layouts, but we have also some weird stuff here that you can see in white, and those are conditionals. So in the first version of the Huro project, we were loading all of the scripts at one time, and it resulted in tremendous load times. So we had to make those conditionals even for the demo, so the page are way faster to load. So it's easy as putting, you see in the pages folder, the name of the page. So you can simply use the if page and have multiple page parameters to load some scripts. And you can do that as well in your own project, and that's recommended because it will simply not generate that tag in the page, in the final page, if it's not one of the specified pages. So that can be very helpful. So I think that we now covered most of the basics regarding the project structure, and you should have by now a good overview of the project. So just before we go into the actual terminal and run the project, I want you to look at that Quickstarter and to see how we don't have all the layouts. We only have one default layout, one auth layout, only 3 pages, an index page, a login page, and a sign-up page. And all of the partials have been cleaned for you. You'll have to get them, at least the ones you need, and put them manually in there or create your own ones. As well, in the assets, we don't have all the JS that we had previously, just a file for one dashboard and our auth JS file and our very light functions file. So it's very short compared to the previous one, and the main file is shorter as well because we load a lot less stuff. Same goes for the CSS, where we don't have all the page CSS. We only have what we need for our dashboard and for our auth pages. You can see that most of the components that are here, elements as well, but we're only loading the bare minimum in our main style sheet. Great, so this is for the quick starter, and I actually wanted to do a typical quick starter installation and maybe add some page into it from the main Huro project. Okay, so I have a separate folder where I have a Huro quick starter. Great. So it's not installed yet, so I'm going to install it. Unfortunately, this is going to take a little while, so we're gonna wait for it to finish. So yeah, the plan is going to be to install the template. Oh, great. Oh, it says my yarn version is out of date, so I'll have to update that. Okay, so you see, since it's a very light project, I'm amazed by how fast it installed, so that's totally great. So I'm gonna open the project. Yes. And okay, here's my Src, and let's run it. So to run it, let's do gulp dev. And let's wait for a while, I guess. So everything seems to run properly. Good. So I'm going to open that in my browser. So you can see there's no landing page. There are no additional links in the sidebar, just 3 example items. You still have your menus. You still have the search sidebar, but all those links are disabled. And you still have your dark mode, of course, the languages panel, and that activity panel. But of course you can remove them from the project if you don't need them. So you also have a login page, and a sign up page. Yep. So that's, I think, pretty much what you'll need to start a project. So what I want to do with you guys today is maybe show you how you can work with this quick starter and find what you need in the Huro main project. So what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do I'm going to open another editor. So I'm going to open my Huro project. Here we go. Great. So we've added two new dashboards, a soccer dashboard and a jobs dashboard. So I think I'm gonna go for the soccer dashboard. So I think it's the sixth lifestyle dashboard. So I'm gonna get it. Dashboards, I think this one. Yep, that's the soccer dashboard. So I have the file here. So I want to create a new page. So let's get started. So in my pages folder, I'm going to create a new file called soccer.html. Okay, and then I'm gonna get you know, the same stuff. I want the navigation, I want the same layout. So I'm gonna take this from the index, and this is the soccer dashboard. Okay, and I'm simply gonna get everything and paste it. So now I'm formatting the page. Should be good. But oh, that's not app jobs, that's app soccer. Okay, and I'm gonna go into my partials, navigation. I want to go into my sub sidebar, my generic sidebar, and I want to add that soccer link, and it's gonna be soccer.html. Okay, so you see that it reloaded, and yeah, I don't like that icon. I'm gonna put a shirt here like in the demo. Okay, we have our soccer link. So let's go to our soccer link. Oh, wow. Everything's all over the place. Yeah, that's because we don't have the styles for that. So this is in the Huro project, this is the admin dashboards lifestyle 6. So that's a pretty good indication in about where I can find those styles. So I'll go into assets as CSS, pages, dashboards. Oh, here's lifestyle. So you see here every time for each dashboard, it's nested into, you know, to encapsulate. It's maybe a little bit too much, so you can remove the first, you know, statement, but you know, it's just to so things remain, you know, clear. So we're gonna need that dashboards lifestyle 6. So I'm gonna scroll down. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. here it is. Okay, that's the soccer dashboard. So I'm gonna pick the dark mode and the base styles. Okay, and where am I going to put this? CSS, pages, dashboards, personal. So I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna name it soccer.scss, and I'm gonna paste in everything that I have in here. Good. And I'm gonna import that file into my main. So that's gonna be dashboards. I'm gonna copy that line. That's gonna be soccer. Great. I saved. It should compile the CSS. Okay, it's compiled. No errors. And I'm pretty sure there are some responsive styles in here for that dashboard. So no 6, 5, 4. Now it looks like we don't have any responsive styles for the lifestyle dashboard v6. Looks like it's already handled, so looks like we're done with the styles. And let's look at our, oh wow, that's great. So of course we don't have that pretty football player photo, but because we cannot bundle images with the final product on Theme Forest, but you get the main idea. So it was very easy to add that page, but still, you see, I have an issue here. This is because I'm missing some styles. This is a table, so we're probably missing some basic table styles. So I'm gonna try and fix that. So let's see, we have our main. Are we loading some tables? Do we have some tables? Yeah, we probably missing some table file. So let's look in Huro. So that's typically something that might happen to you. So that's a good exercise. Let's look at that. Oh, we have a table.scss, but actually it's not a flex table, I think. So what do we have? Yeah, we probably need that Bulma table. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to create another table file, and I'll probably paste that into my dashboard. And I hope that it's going to do the job. So it's compiling. Okay. And do we have dark mode? Oh yeah, we have dark mode. So yeah, typically that's the kind of stuff that you might run into, and that was the perfect use case, to show you how to fix that. Anyway, so I think you got the main idea about this new Huro Kickstarter, and I hope you liked this video, and I hope it wasn't too long, although I know it is a lot. It is very long, but I really like to get into details. So I hope you appreciated this video and this talk, and we hope to see you soon on CSS Ninja, And of course, we'll be there to answer your questions on our support portal or our discussions on GitHub. See you soon. Bye bye.